Hey, who's ready for another real estate story? So I was thinking recently about some clients, and another particular client came to mind. About 10 years ago, when we had the real estate bubble, I got a call from an investor who I was doing some business with, and he said that he had a lead for me. There was a client that had called him. He wanted to sell his house, but certainly the investor's numbers didn't work. So I met with this homeowner who was in federal law enforcement, very commanding presence kind of guy. And we talked about his situation. I had done some research on the property prior to meeting with him, and I noticed that for the last year and prior year and a half or so, the property had been on and off the market a couple of times. And I asked him why he thought it didn't sell, and essentially he kind of pitched that back to me. Why do I think it didn't sell? Which is kind of the way those conversations often go. So I said, look, man, I think it was a lot of it was price. Price is a big determiner in whether or not a property will sell. And he goes, look, I can't lower the price. He goes, look at my numbers. This is what I owe. And I said, yeah, well, if you owe this and this is the market value, that's a problem, right? Because what happens to everything in between? So we chatted for a little bit, and I said, "Look, I'm a straight shooter. Here's the deal. And if you want to sell this house, if you're not prepared to write a big check, or certainly not able to write a big check, then what we have to do is something called a short sale. So short sales are not short. Short sales are actually rather long and rather complex. However, that was a time in the early 2000s, around 2011, 2012, where we were doing a ton of short sales. And I bring this up now because I believe that they're coming again. There's going to be a wave of short sales coming in the next 6 to 12 months. And some of you watching this may be very worried or very concerned about what you own, what your house is worth. And I'd be happy to chat with you confidentially about your scenario. So, anyway, back to Charles. So, we chatted. I said, this is kind of how it has to work, my friend. And I kind of laid out the process of the short sale. And his goal was to get down to the Maryland, D.C. area. And several months later, we did it. We got it done via short sale because I told him the truth. And we've become real close since then. His life has forever changed because I was able to get that weight off of him, off of his shoulders, his entire family's shoulders, and I've watched his beautiful family continue to grow since then. So I just want to read you a quick note that he recently sent me. Um, Again, this is why I do what I do. Robert, I've told you 100 times, and I don't mind making it 101. You are absolutely the best at what you do. And for me, you were a lifesaver. After the housing market crashed about 10 years ago, you put me on your shoulders and carried me through a complex short sale process. I was being transferred from New Jersey to the Washington, D.C. area. You sat me down and gave me an education I'll never forget. You went above and beyond your role as an agent. After wiping away my tears when I learned I was taking a huge loss on my house, you stuck by me every day and reassured me that we will get a deal done. It was almost like I was your only client. I had complete confidence in you and knew my life and house were in good hands. You took so much pressure off of me. When you told me the house was being sold, I was so relieved. I don't think there is a rating high enough for what you did for me and my family. As an added as a as an value added benefit, you and I have become great friends as well. Thank you again, Robert. Whew. So once again, here's another reason why I do what I do. Charles, my man, it was a pleasure helping you and your family get on to the next chapter. And an awesome byproduct of helping you is that I know I've made a friend for life. So I bring this up now because I think it is extremely timely with everything we have going on in our economy right now as it kind of hopefully starts to come back up to speed. I know a lot of us are really hurting out there. A lot of people have a lot of questions about mortgages and what's going on and what does a forbearance mean and what happens at the end of that and what if they don't go back to work after a furlough. So any of you people that are watching this, if you think that you would just like to chat confidentially, I could stop over, we could chat via Zoom, we can talk on the phone, and it's really about education at this point. And we'll talk about what your options are and how I could help you. But my friend Charles, love you, brother, and you know, I will see you guys soon. Thanks.